What is going on? Welcome to today's trade recap of the day. Today is Monday, November 17th, 2025. I'm going to be going over today's price action. The one trade I ended up taking, I ended up losing $17,000 on the day today. So we're going to get into that. And let's just get started. Rough start to the week. And this trade is playing out. Man, I got cooked here. I got stop rated like a motherfucker. So unfortunate. We just gotta have to watch. Let's just watch this hit my TP. Look at this 930 low as the draw. Look how beautiful this short was. Let's just watch this. I don't even want to start the trade recap. Sometimes you have to do this, man. This is the life of a profitable trader. Just watching, sitting back, and unfortunately having the trades do this sometimes. So we're gonna watch this. How was your guys' trading day? Good. Okay. Let's get into it. I ended up losing 17 bands today. On the better side, though, 3 of my Alpha Futures accounts actually didn't end up getting copy trade. So the gods blessed me there. That was an accident. But yeah, here's the P&L. Oops. Very nice. Very nice. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not end up copy trading. Fortunately, I didn't end up copy trading those accounts. And that was completely my fault, not TradeSinger's fault at all. Every weekend, you guys have to like refresh the connections because the connections like over the weekend get removed or something. I don't know. I thought I did that with all the accounts, and I forgot with the Alpha Futures account. So anyways, let's get into it. All right, brutal. But there's a lot to learn with overall bias, and I think you guys can definitely like take away something from this loss, like with every loss, right? So coming into the day, I actually end up having a bearish bias. Okay, so looking at this, I was bearish on the day. Why would I be bearish, Blake? We swept out a 4-hour low inside of a gap. Looking at the higher time frame, right? We are obviously very clearly bearish, right? So first things first, weekly bias, bearish. Now, when I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to be bullish or bearish on the day, I'm looking at the overnight session to see what it did, right? So I'm looking at the overnight session. What do we do here? Overnight traded into a bearish 4-hour for rally gap. I have a lot on my screen now, sorry, but this is a 4-hour bearish for rally gap. We end up sweeping out this 4-hour internal high, intermediate high inside of this gap. And then overnight session, right? Overnight session, London session, ended up creating that high of day, right? So daily profiles wise, this looks like a what? London reversal. New York should have a continuation model, right? Which is what ended up playing out. And it's unfortunate I didn't get in on, the trade I wanted to. And let's just get into it, okay? 9:30 ended up opening, and I was honestly just looking for a quick pullback and then like a continuation, because that's usually what happens on these days is we have like fat expansions when we have this London manipulation reversal. New York should continue, right? But we had a really, really fat rebalance that looked pretty sus, honestly. Like 9:30 had this open low. We ended up having insane distribution up over like 100, 200 points of distribution up. So I wasn't at this point very confident in shorts. I'll show you guys though the first initial entry that did end up presenting itself that I ended up taking and then taking off, as you guys saw from like the executions here. I took this initial short, and this was a 30-second, right? The framework looked good, right? We had an SMT here. So you can see ES ended up not hitting this yet. So we had this bearish SMT in play, as you guys can see. SMT. We also had an internal SMT as well, right? So overall framework looked good. Now, the reason I didn't take this, guys, is just because of, honestly, 2 things. Number one, I don't love like when I ask myself, right, when I'm trading the mech model or just any like reversal based model in general, I need to ask myself, like, do I see price going further than just the unfilled gaps here, right? And at this point in time, and I need to have like a confident higher time frame, like confident higher time draw down here, right? And to me, this wasn't that obvious of a low, right? Of course, it's like that 9:30 low, but to me, like this honestly just looks sus. Like we ended up sweeping out this 4-hour low. We got this internal manipulation here. So I was like, I don't love this as a target. So I took the initial short and then I took off my position just because I didn't really like it after that. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much why I faded this initial entry here. Was those reasons. Also like the 3-minute right here, right? We have a 3-minute right here. We trade into this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, right? So from here, right, we end up having a move higher, right? This move higher. And we end up having this 15-minute bearish breaker block right here, right? So here, this was like really, to me, it's supposed to be like high of day. Like we should not be pushing any higher than this. And I don't love seeing, like you guys hear me say it all the time, I don't really love seeing price have these huge retraces, but today I ended up being extremely volatile. So whenever we have like huge retraces like this, to me, it's kind of sus shorting like the top. So whenever we have these moves, I like to instead just take continuations rather than like have like the initial like short at the top. And that's just something that gives me a better bias. You know, maybe let's say we had like equal lows here, or like the new day opening gap, for example, from like Friday's trade, right? Something like more obvious, then yeah, I would feel much more comfortable taking like a short up here. But just because like this draw isn't that clear, like I just want to see some displacement towards that. And then I'd feel much more comfortable just taking a continuation, right? So that's what was going through my head. In hindsight, you know, this 5-minute close was really clean. If you took this, it was a really instantaneous reaction, really good like internal sweep on this 5-minute high as well. We had an unfilled 5-minute as the draw, as a, you know, the internal draw here that you could have just taken it to. So that was honestly like the best trade of the day in my opinion. But yeah, ended up just working. And then from here, we did end up presenting a continuation model, right? Where we did not take out the low here, right? And all I need to see for the continuation model is a pullback into a 5-minute or 15-minute gap, or we can get an SMT, which is even better. All right, so we got this SMT, and then we had instantaneous displacement through the highest time from inverse from this manipulation leg, which was this 2-minute, and I ended up getting in there, which was not obviously the best fill at all. We had this change state delivery here. So I ended up setting a limit order just because obviously I don't want to enter all the way down here. I feel a little more comfortable entering down here. And this was a breaker block, right? If we look on the 2-minute and the 1-minute, this is your breaker block, right? We have the high to low, higher high that hit this gap, then we get a closure below this, right? So this is your change state delivery, this is your market structure shift, and this is your breaker block area. So I wanted to see this area get respected, right? That was basically what I was looking at. Like this whole entire leg here, these down close candles, if we were going to be bearish, this should hold. Now, of course, this ended up coming back up, and I'll basically play out like how this trade happened. I had my stop loss there initially. I had my stop loss here. And I didn't realize how much I was risking. This was honestly like a risk management mistake on my part. Now, I wouldn't even, I mean, like I could have had it up here, but whenever we have these big moves, like I don't expect price to have these big retraces. And maybe this is just something I need a journal, and I obviously did journal. And I need to just see, you know, maybe I can start just leaving my stop losses at the wicks. I don't know how many times this saved me versus not, and how much this is how beneficial this is for my risk to reward if I leave it up there. But to me, having a 78-point stop loss to me was OD as fuck. And this breaker block just should have held. So to me, this was fine. But that was obviously the main problem of this trade. And then once we had this move where we end up tapping into this IFEG on the 2-minute, right? And then we tapped into the breaker area, get displacement. To me, I just put the stop loss back here. I was like, okay, this high should be protected. If we are going to continue being bearish here, we should sell off here, which didn't happen. We ended up chopping. I know a lot of you guys are probably gonna say you also took this against SMTs, right? There's SMTs here, but guys, I don't care about SMTs that are not aligned with my drawn liquidity. So what does that mean? I'll only care about the SMTs that for one are aligned with my drawn liquidity, meaning this. All right, we have an SMT at this 5-minute bearish gap. And then I would also care if the SMT forms all the way down here, right, at my actual drawn liquidity. But both those things, but that thing didn't happen, right? We didn't form an SMT at this low, right? And I also just really love this drawn liquidity, guys, because it's that 930 wick that I'm always talking about. Like the 930 low is just such a great drawn liquidity to be trading back to, especially if it's like aligned with the higher time frame bias and you start trending towards that. It's a great target, and it's also a great reversal point, obviously, as you guys saw from Thursday's trade, right? But yeah, that is pretty much it. I got stop rated here, and unfortunate. We ended up like trading through the breaker block, which is like not what I expected at all. And I just wanted to see like fast continuation, but we didn't get that. I think that could have definitely been because of the SMTs that got formed. It kind of slowed down price, made the drawn liquidity made price a little bit hesitant, and instead we ended up generating liquidity here, getting a little stop rate, and then price did end up running to my draw. But yeah, I mean, that's nothing much I can do here, right? I can just really journal this and move on, right? The one thing I'm not going to do is revenge trade. I'm not going to, beat myself up over this. Losses happen, right? It is normal. It is necessary for a winning statistic. So I'm going to just take this on the chin. I'm going to journal it, and I'm going to move on, right? Unfortunate start to the week, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, something to learn for sure. This is also like past like 10:30. Not really like within like the morning macro, so it was a little bit tougher to get like these clean continuations. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I like this trade idea a lot, though. I like this overall trade. Like, I would rate it A-rated for sure. And I'm pretty happy with this loss and how I played it, honestly. Just something to note that maybe I can start just maybe trading on M and Q instead, and like leaving bigger, obviously, stop losses. Because, I mean, if I would have left this, though, at like the high, this would have been, if I was just on NQ, what would this have been? 313 points, ticks. Yeah, so I would have basically been risking over 1%, which is way too much. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Also, I think my AMP live account is almost ready. I need to submit like one more document I'm going to do after this video. After I finish recording this, I'm going to submit that document. And yeah, thank God I didn't start off the AMP live account on a loss like this. But yeah, so I'll have like an actual better visual like yearly P&L, because obviously with like funded accounts, I just rinse and repeat them, so I can't really see like a clear equity curve. But it would be really cool to see now, because I'm gonna be opening up a live account, and just have that. And yeah, I'm hyped to see that. But thank you guys for watching this video. Leave in the comments if you guys took a dub today. Today was honestly really clean price action. There was a lot of opportunity. I think that Pat took like this 930 initial long here, which was really clean. If you were bullish, to me, I was just too bearish to be longing. What else? You could have taken that 5-minute short, was clean. And then maybe you just had a stop loss at the wick here like a good boy, and just let the trade run. So let me know in the comments any trades that you guys took, if you had a win or L on the day. And I will maybe see you guys tomorrow if we get a clean setup tomorrow. And that is pretty much it. Codes, Alpha Futures, guys. Really good code going right now. Code PB. Tradeify also, guys, if you want to get get Tradeify, what's it called? A deal with Tradeify. I think it's like 40% off right now. What else? Trade Syncer and Apex. Those are all the accounts and prop firms I'm using right now. So go check them out. Links in the description below. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out, team.